My name is LV, and I'm speaking my mind. Today, we're talking about a man who stood in the middle of one of the most politically explosive investigations in modern American history, Robert Mueller. Now, whether you agreed with him, doubted him, or flat out dismissed him, you knew the name. Because when Mueller stepped in as special counsel to investigate Donald Trump and Russian interference, the stakes weren't just political, they were historical. And let's be clear about something right now. Mueller was not some loud camera-chasing figure. He wasn't out there tweeting every 5 minutes or holding rallies. He was a former FBI director, a Marine, a man known for discipline and silence. When he spoke, it mattered. When he acted, it was deliberate. And what did his investigation actually do? It results in dozens of indictments, multiple convictions, and laid out a detailed roadmap of Russian interference in the 2016 election. It also documented numerous contacts between Trump associates and Russian officials. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable for some folks. Mueller did not say Trump was innocent. In fact, in obstruction of justice, he explicitly said that if they had confidence the president clearly did not commit a crime, they would have said so. Let that sit for a second. But because of long-standing Department of Justice policy about indicting a sitting president, Mueller stopped short of charging him. And that's where the naysayers come in. You heard them. Oh, it was a witch hunt. He found nothing. It was all fake. But here's the truth. They didn't actually read the report. Because if you read it, you see a pattern of behavior, obstruction concerns, and a system that, quite frankly, hits the limits of what it could legally do at the time. So instead of engaging with the facts, critics try to discredit the man. They attacked Mueller's integrity. They questioned his motives. They turned a career public servant into a political target. And now he's gone. And instead of a moment of reflection, instead of even a shred of respect, we get mockery. Yes, Donald Trump took to his platform, Truth Social, or as some would call it, Lie Social, and made a snide, dismissive remark about Mueller's passing. And that tells you everything you need to know. Because there's a difference between political disagreement and basic human decency. This moment actually reminds me of something from old Hollywood. When Joan Crawford passed away, her longtime rival, Bette Davis, famously said, and I quote, "I don't want to speak ill of the dead, only good. Joan Crawford's dead. Good." Now, that was sharp, cold, brutal. But here's the difference. That was a personal feud in Hollywood. What we're seeing now, that's a former president of the United States, or as some would put it, mocking a man who led a lawful investigation into his conduct. That's not wit. That's not strength. That's pettiness. And honestly, it's beneath the office he once held. Because love Mueller or hate him, agree with his conclusions or not, you cannot deny that the man dedicated his life to public service. From Vietnam to leading the FBI after 9/11 to stepping into one of the most politically dangerous roles imaginable, that deserves something more than a cheap shot after death. And here's the bigger point. Truth does not die with a man. Investigations don't vanish because one person is gone. The questions raised, the evidence documented, the concerns about accountability, they just don't disappear. If anything, they become even more important because now it's up to the rest of us, journalists, lawmakers, citizens, to keep asking questions, to keep demanding transparency, to keep pushing for accountability, no matter who's in power. Because justice isn't about one prosecutor. It's about a system that either holds strong or falls apart. And if we allow cruelty, misinformation, and political spin to replace truth, then we've lost more than just the man. We lost the standard. So today, regardless of where you stand politically, we acknowledge Robert Mueller, a man who walked into the fire, did his job, and let the facts speak, even when others tried to drown them out. My thoughts go out to his family. And to those who still believe in truth and justice, this fight isn't over. Not even close. Because the spirit of accountability, that doesn't retire. That doesn't disappear. And it sure doesn't die. Let's speak our mind together. My name is LV, and I have spoken my mind.